Stakeholders' endorsement of Governor Peter Mbah, when you say that with Enugu East Senatorial Zone's political stakeholders' endorsement of Governor Peter Mbah still making headlines, the biggest talking point from the town hall is the call on Governor Peter Mbah to join the APC, a call amplified by Dr. Nwoye, former chairman of the APC, Enugu State, who stated that he has the mandate of the national APC leadership to woo Mbah to their party. The crème de la crème of Enugu East politics, including Honorable Chijioke Edeoga and a host of others, roared their support. Is this a sign of popularity for the governor, or political alarm bells are already ringing against a burgeoning opposition political parties? Is Enugu East confident or in panic mode? This is the Eastern Eye. I'm Alex Obodo. Welcome to the Eastern Eye, a program that X-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. The Enugu East Senatorial Zone has resoundingly endorsed Governor Peter Mbah for 2027 as the sole candidate of the zone for 2027. Well, there are other people who might want to have things to say about it. And now the big question is the Enugu East Senatorial Zone the only ones who have a say on who should be the candidate in 2027? Here in Enugu State. Joining me tonight to help us put this in perspective is Chief Steve Oruro. He's the Deputy Chairman of the PDP in Enugu State. Thank you so much for joining us on the Eastern Eye.
Thank you, Alex.
So, yeah, this wouldn't be the first time Enugu East Senatorial Zone are endorsing a governor. But what is different about this endorsement?
Well, the difference is very clear. In terms of the volume of enthusiasm, in terms of the euphoria around it, in terms of the passion with which the people came out in their numbers. Actually, I think it was built to be select stakeholders, but if you look at the volume of persons or the number of persons and the weight of individuals that actually came, it would also show you that it was a matter of resounding support. It was a support anchored on commitment and passion. You know, the people came out in their numbers, including the People's Democratic Party faithfuls, people from the APC, from the Labour Party. Different parties actually came together to give an unwavering, unmitigated, unalloyed, and of course, a support I may choose to call indomitable to the person of the governor of the state.
But clearly, I mean, when you have a governor, despite the endorsements, he will still stand for election. The endorsement is not giving him the victory. It's merely telling him, okay, you're going. But there'll be the inside politicking of it, whether he will emerge this and emerge that. And again, the other political parties might also want to have a say. Don't you think so?
Well, I think if you're looking for the in-depth values, the intrinsic values of that support, you find out that it was clearly anchored on certain yardsticks. You know, this is not the first time we're having a governor, but this is the first time we're having a kind of clear-cut scrutiny, analysis, you know, evaluation of what the government has been able to put out for the people. And everyone came to a resounding conclusion that this is a different kind of leadership model. This is a different model that has downthroned, you know, profligacy, pedestrian and dysfunctional system, you know, while embracing a government anchored on probity, rectitude, integrity, and of course, genuine intention for the masses. Beyond the facets of this lies the fact that there has been multiplicity, torrents, and volumes of democracy dividends in terms of verifiable dividends of democracy. From the educational sector to the health sector to transportation sector to agricultural sector, industrialization, and even mental rejigging of, a kind of engineering of the mental, state of the people, to embrace the fact that in this time, when there is, a disconnect between the will of the government and the will of the ordinary people, when there is a trust deficit between the governed and the government, and when there is a yawning chasm in terms of suspicion between, the leaders and the led, suddenly we have found a government that we can trust. We have found a character at the apex level of leadership that the people can trust. Given that under just 2 years, we have seen multiplicity of, the delivery of the dividends of democracy. And if you may, I would want to also highlight where this passion, was actually anchored. It was anchored on the fact that under just 2 years, we have seen 260 smart schools rising in different communities out of the 260 political wards. We have equally seen 260 primary two, health centers in different wards finished with aplomb. When you look at the quality of finishing, the fact that in conjunction with the European Union, we could have solar light, where there's water, and we have residential quarters for the doctors and nurses to also live, which is a departure from what we used to have in the past. And again, you see that under this regime, only under this regime, we are talking about the smart school, that we need to also highlight the benefits of the smart school so that people will also know more why that euphoria was high, why that noise was a bit loud. Given the fact that at the age of 3, a little child can be also made to learn, robotics, mechatronics, artificial intelligence, the augmented and visual realities, and of course all manner of creativity being imbibed in a young person, so that we have what we call experiential learning that gives the child a chance and our youth a chance to also stay in Nigeria and work in different countries. But beyond this, like if you look at even the moribund projects in Enugu, you realize that Enugu had issued as the capital of the eastern Nigeria. And Enugu remains the impregnable fortress of people of the southeast, Igbo most importantly. An egalitarian set of people that are capitalists and industrious in their nature, only looking for fairness and openness for them to explore. And this is a place that was led by Nnamdi Azikiwe and the great Michael Okpara. And between the 50s and the 60s, actually, it was touted to be the fastest growing economy as far as the regional governments all over the world, is concerned. And suddenly we have found a governor who has become a replica of that old order. So his attitude towards leadership, his style of government rekindles nostalgia in terms of what has been established by these people. And today there's a sense in which we feel that the spirit of these forefathers, have possessed one man by name.
Yes,
Dr. Peter Mbah.
Yes, you've said all that, but let me tickle your memory a bit. If you go back from Senator Chijioke Edeoga, right from 1999, you had Sullivan Chime, you've had Ifeanyi Nwoye, then you have Dr. Peter Mbah. All of the governors I mentioned until now have always been endorsed by one group or the other. And they cite all those things you've cited. They say they did well, they did this, they built hospitals, they built schools. But then, those are basically the same things that have been reeled out. So exactly what sets this dispensation apart from the last 3 dispensations?
Well, the truth is that we have been lucky. Enugu has been lucky to have had different, highly respected governors in their own ranks. And I wouldn't want to speak about them differently or individually. But the truth is that we have been lucky. But there's something special about Governor Peter Mbah. And there's something quite different in terms of the system, the ideology, the philosophy to governance than we have had before. Like I told you, this is the first time since 1963 when Presidential Hotel was actually established and commissioned by Michael Edeoga that a governor will come back after decades of ruination of some sort. He stood there like a monumental embarrassment. But suddenly a certain Peter Mbah has come and he decided to put all encumbrances aside, all impediments that he issued against this hotel. He shoved aside to make sure that today we have a gigantic hotel, a monument that is almost like a signage of all eyes and the beauty of the Southeast. And again, if you look at the Sunrise Floor Mill, a place that had also been established in the past, it has touched the place and has been able to equip and make it functional. And if you also go to Niger Gas, for instance, an industry built in 1962 by the same M.I. Okpara, this government has been able to re-establish it, to revitalize, resuscitate, and revamp that particular industry. And they're producing optimally. So the world is also watching with this flurry of performances. But as if this isn't enough, look at what has happened with the United Palm Products Limited, a company that was also established, in fact, if not for the Civil War, could have also been commissioned before 1970. But eventually, in 1970, it was commissioned, actually built by Michael Okpara too. It has about 6,700 hectares, covering Umulokpa in Ozuwana local government, and Ibitolo, of course, in Eziago, and Ugwoba in Oji River. You can imagine that size. And when Nnamdi Azikiwe was actually trekking with Okpara at some point, they realized that with palm produce, they can do wonders. And eventually, places like the University of Nigeria and Soka and some other projects were built, courtesy of the imagination of this man. Today, the governor of the state, in conjunction with the PPA, has contrived to put the place intact, spending over about 100 billion naira, committed to that particular place to revive it. So the momentum is high. There's a rising crescendo of trust that has come from the side of people to the government. And as if this is not enough, under just 2 years, this government has paved 130 roads, rising up to over 1,000 kilometers. And to show the intent, the commitment, the unwavering commitment, and the definitive style of leadership, the government has gone ahead to do what? To build and also establish one of the biggest asphalt plants in Sub-Saharan Africa. So with that, it becomes a feeder. It goes to show that roads will continue to be built in Enugu from now to the for 8 years and even beyond. Right. Because this is now belong to the state.
Okay.
But have you forgotten about the conference center? Because if you look at the MBA, with the scintillating statements coming from there, with the encomiums, with the plaudits that are pouring on the state government, it becomes a reminder that the government has done noble, given that it was Governor Chijioke Edeoga that started that project, but Governor Peter Mbah has finished with style.
I mean, that's on the governance side. So let's get a little deeper into the politics of it, because the endorsement speaks to a lot of politics, because it's about governorship in 2027.
Yes.
So is this a passport to a no contest? He will just waltz in and he wins it? Or is this also a pointer to the fact that some say that this is a reaction from Enugu East Senatorial Zone, knowing that the opposition political terrain has also changed? Is this a panic mode alarm bell?
Well, it could have been. It makes a mockery of all manner of analysis for anybody to come to a conclusion that it is a panic move. First, this endorsement had been done, willfully by the people of Enugu North Senatorial Zone, double times. The people of Enugu West Senatorial District actually, in their stakeholders meetings, had also endorsed the governor. And they will have a bigger rally coming, from them. And people of Enugu East has confidence built and driven by the fact that this government is anchored on probity, rectitude, integrity, quality, and of course productivity. That it has been blistering, and it's been, flurry of dividends, delivery of dividends of democracy. And the owners of the governor, being the fact that he comes from that zone, they are very confident, they are very happy. The least they can do is to, find an opportunity to thank other people for giving the governor endorsements. So this endorsement in it has a lot of meanings. First, we are also standing by any people that had stood firm with the governor all this while to say that he has done more than well. Secondly, it is not just an endorsement, it is just a restatement of the fact that he will never walk alone. We realize the fact that he's delivering these goods. He is not interested in re-election. That's the difference. The governor talks about productivity, talks about churning out results for the people, creating an easement through which the people will walk and enjoy their lives and make life easier for the people of Enugu. That's exactly why he has just, under few months, he's acquired about 200 CNG buses to make transportation easier. He has also acquired about 2,000 taxis, 2,000 cabs that may be unleashed from any moment from now for the Enugu people. For the first time since the creation of Nigeria as a country, since independence, no state from the old eastern Nigeria has been able to, buy an airline of their own, apart from Enugu State. So it is novel. Now we have Enugu Air under 2 years. Imagine what will happen in 4 years. So the distances are too many. So that's why the people, of course, can boastfully say, this is their own. We are not just endorsing him. The endorsement actually came from all the parties. Given the fact that the greatest challenger in the last election was, of course, Honorable Chijioke Edeoga. But it was the one that moved the motion, meaning that Labour had fully melted. They had fully surrendered. And who seconded the motion? The most flamboyant chairman of the APC, the most enterprising chairman of the APC within the last 6 or 8 years. You talk about Dr. Nwoye. He was the one that seconded the motion. So he represents the greater chunk of the APC, the greater, vibrant, very active part of the APC, in terms of having mammoth crowd, in terms of having the followership. He came out willingly to endorse a candidate of a party that is not of his own extraction, at least for today. So it's a sign that it was a unanimous decision taken by the people of Enugu East Senatorial Zone. It was the voice of the people. It was a collection of, the opinions of all the Enugu, from the Enugu East extraction, put in one basket. So it was an audacious outing indeed. And it's a constant reminder that these days nobody talks about party politicking. Party is only a mere conduit pipe through which aspirations are fulfilled. What people talk about today, they talk about productivity, they talk about good governance, they talk about qualitative leadership, they talk about dividends of democracy. And that's exactly that social contract, uniting the government and the people. That's the relationship between the governor himself and the rest of the Enugu. What are you producing before them? What are you delivering on the table for them? And they've looked at it judiciously. They've also looked at it very carefully. They've also reasoned, is this governor working in tandem with our sensibilities and temperament? Is this governor working in line with the modern trends that we hope for? And if you look at how the election went in 2023, you will see that the populace, by their demand, by their reactions, they demanded for a tweaking, a rejigging, a reimagining of the political space to have a kind of government capable of delivering the goods for them in 21st century. And today, a certain governor made certain promises. As a candidate, he made promises. It looked like, a normalcy. It looked like, normal political promises. But today, he has fulfilled beyond the scope of his promises and is yearning to do more. So this is where the support base is coming from. It is not anchored on nothingness.
All right. So we'll take a break here on the Eastern Eye. When we return, I will ask Barrister Chief Steve Ororo on whether the governor will be defecting, because there was a loud and clear call by Dr. Ben Nwoye for him to come to the APC, that he is welcome. Will he move? When will he move? And the big question is, if he will move. That's when we'll return. Welcome back to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV, a program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. My name is Alex. So what I still have in the studio with me, Chief Steve Aurora, the Deputy Chairman of the PDP here in Enugu State. And one of the loudest calls at that endorsement was that of Dr. Ben Nwoye when he called on the governor of Enugu State to come over to the APC. He was so assured that the governor of Enugu State is welcome. But there is something, the other leaders of the APC, notably the Minister of Science and Technology and the chairman of the APC in Enugu State, say he's not welcome. I'm sure you've seen that tape. He's on tape that he's not welcome. So what do you want us to make of this?
Well, I think Ben Nwoye, Dr. Ben Nwoye was privileged to have the mic on the day. That's exactly why he was, he managed to make that demand. It was a fervent plea from him, demanding that the governor should cross over to the APC. But if you are listening to those on the floor, you will see that people from Abga were also asking that governor go to Abga. Just like people from Labour also were craving for the governor to come to Labour. The governor has become the epicenter of politics in the state. It's become the signage of all eyes. It's become the source of inspiration. It's become like a bride that everybody's looking for, actually. That's exactly why I suspect my clairvoyance. I could imagine why Ben Nwoye also called for the governor to cross over. There's no person who can do what the governor is doing, and given the fact that he has, in every particular ward in Enugu, provided like about 200 hectares of land as land bank for mechanized agriculture, about 300 hectares as well again for this. So because of the quality of what the governor has been able to do,
we have to take a very quick break. When we return, we will continue the conversation. I'm sorry about that. We really need to take the break. Sincere apologies for that first break, but we're back now to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV, and Chief Aurora was speaking about how the governor has become a beautiful bride, that all the political parties are now wooing him to come to their side. Well, is that what it's about? Isn't this about the choice that people will make? If all the political parties in Enugu have him on their side, who will be their candidates?
Well, like I said, it has gone beyond party politicking. Our people, since 1960, 1963, 79, going forward down to 99, we have seen a lot of politicking. We have seen a lot of claim for democracy, whether real or perceived. But the actual thing is that people now want dividends of democracy. Nigerian people are suffering. If you look at the indicators or indices, we find out that Nigerian people are suffering. And the masses are the worst hit. So they want resolve. They want to have good roads. They want to have water. They want to have good transportation system. They want to have good agricultural system. So if they see a man who is doing that and also touching all the moribund companies and setting out new ones, and as at the last time I checked, even the transportation sector is not through with that. Apart from opening up the Ogurugu jetty in Ozo 1, so that the farm products can move through the waterways, he has also been able to lure the Navy to bring their naval base to the place. And when I spoke with the Commissioner for Transportation, he did say that the railway, the rail system, the state-owned rail system, is about also to commend and doing everything to make sure that they start, bringing that to fruition here in Enugu. So when you see a governor who is working in a blistering way and whose activities, performances actually resonate with the people across the party lines, then you begin to realize what I had alluded to in the beginning, that political parties are mere conduit pipes through which political ambitions are fulfilled. But people want the end product of politics, which is the dividends of democracy. Talking about the good roads, talking about all the things that can come out of that quality environment. And if you look at the presidential road, for instance, or let's say the Rangers Avenue, is a behavior of activities. Lying to the left side of the conference center is an international hospital. That hospital is tailored to be better than American hospital in Dubai, so that all manner of medical treatment can be done there, so that people who have no business going overseas for health tourism. So anybody who wants to go to should come to Enugu. It has become an embarrassment that our people are dying overseas. And if you look at what is happening with the smart school and the intention behind the smart school, the quality of learning that can also be gotten from the smart school, you realize the fact that it is intended to stop people from going into educational escapade across the Atlantic. So people in government should be able to put their children at home. If you have a level, if you have an equalizer of a school, where the school is better than the private schools that take humongous amount of money from individuals, it's becoming a thing of pride for anybody to put your child in a private school. But most of the leaders today, actually, we are trained in the public schools. So hasn't that become an embarrassment? So the smart school is coming to address that adequately. And having said this, it is also very important to note that at this very particular time, that even the concerns of civil servants, particularly teachers and how are being arrested, about 50 billion naira was set aside to clear, pension bills and leave allowances, and about 4.6 billion again given to our people in agriculture to see that there are interventions here and there to make the lives of people better. So it's a government whose activities actually resonate beyond the corridors of a particular political party. It is the people's government and not a particular political party's government. Be that as it may, if you also review what is going in PDP today, what the masses want to protect is the Rex. They want to protect the dividends of democracy, the collective benefit accruable from politics, which are these projects. That's what they want to protect. The support they are giving to the governor is not just because he's the governor. They are giving that support to protect what the government intends to produce. They want the sequence to flow. They want perhaps the magic to continue. Whatever thing the governor is doing within 2 years to have produced all this, they want it replicated in 100 folds in 4 years. They want it to be done in 8 years. And if it is possible, even if we cannot go for a third term because of the provisions of the law, let us have a rigid mentality of leadership, where we will not have renegades, where we will not have people that will be doctored and governed by idiocy, take over the polity and loot the commonwealth of people. What we want now is a government that will be sacrificial. There are only two kinds of leaders: those who sacrifice self and those who make sacrifices for self. So we want people that will be in the mold of the likes of Emma Obara. People that will work for the people and be remembered forever for what they have done. And if you look at what the governor has done too, you will see that he has answered that question very clearly. But beyond this, if you look at the activities within the rank and file of the PDP, for instance, it's also a warning bell for some people. Some people are worried about a party that has lost its team in terms of quality of governance, in terms of failure of leadership to address the plight of the Southeast, is a party that may not be fit and proper to carry the business of the Southeast. Remember the Igbos, like I alluded earlier, are people that suffered during the Civil War, and with 20 pounds they're able to wriggle out of the problems with sense of creativity and imagination. They do not want anything to truncate or vitiate this process of qualitative governance anymore. Therefore, all other parties within the Southeast are equally looking for a candidate capable of winning an election. The masses are not interested in political logo anymore. They want to look at their candidate. They want to ask, where is Governor Peter Mbah? Which party? The party they know today is the governor himself. Therefore, it is not out of fashion that people like Dr. Nwoye will be calling out the governor to join APC. Like I mentioned, other parties also want him in their different parties. So it does not matter where he wants to be. What matters is the capacity to continue with the speed and accuracy of the delivery in terms of the dividends of democracy.
So clearly now, there are other political parties in existence, and the political landscape in Enugu State has changed. Everything you said, I heard and I understand, but then it looks like the politics has changed. 2023 was a turning point, and I know that you know what I'm talking about. Even the emergence of Dr. Peter Mbah was a battle, because at that time there was a wave. And yes, that wave may be over, but the thirst of the people have changed in terms of how they want things done. You've also now corroborated with the fact that people look at individuals. The other platforms, political parties, will be parading individuals too, in other positions, not just the governorship. Do you emphasize that 2027 will even be harder than 2023?
2027 posits a walkover on the face value, because we have discovered what the masses are looking for. We have discovered the intrinsic value in good governance. People are not looking for the finest posters anymore. They are looking for the finest quality of governance. They are looking for a government that will give meaning, dignify the lives of individuals. That's why the government of Enugu State, led by Governor Peter Mbah, has managed to build 5 ultra-modern, bus terminals with sublimity and exquisiteness. And this is just to dignify the people. If you look at what we have in place there and what it intends to achieve, it is to make the life better, make the Enugu life better. That's what I'm looking for. Enugu has been renowned as the capital of the Southeast and the impregnable fortress of the Igbo man in terms of the last hope when it comes to where you have to reside. And today, what has it done in security? He was the only governor that had the audacity, the boldness to call it the bluff of the non-state actors. Enough. We are talking about people that survive out of their creativity and imagination, out of trading. And suddenly people started making declarations here and there, killing people carelessly. So today, he has demolished that idea of criminality, roguery, and brigandage. It is no longer a place to come up with such ideas. So today, with the command and control center, with the provision of the DRS, with the acquisition of over 450 vehicles, AI embedded, with other sophisticated, equipment to ensure that they provide security, it has mitigated the mutating, security in the state. Given the fact that this security has become an international problem and a constant challenge all over the world. But if you look at Enugu, for instance, most of the people, even from the south, feel safer when they come to Enugu. It is not by mistake. It is out of tailored and well, prepared attempt at solving a problem. So, and he hasn't removed his leg from the pedal at all. So that's why everyone is talking about Enugu, and that's why the party has become Governor Peter Mbah. Whatever he chooses to mention in the next couple of minutes or hours or weeks or in the next month or whatever he chooses to mention, I want to be in PDP, people will remain there. I want to go to APC, everybody will go with him. I'm going to Afia, they will go with him. So Enugu, the temperature, the feelers, the pulse of the people, we can get. They'll say, go to anywhere I want to go, we're going to go with you. It does not matter the color of the plane. It is the quality of the engine and the quality of the pilot. We want to get to our destination. We don't want a situation where these good products that have been marketed can be truncated or vitiated along the line.
I think it would be a little odd if I don't ask this question. Most of the National Assembly members are no longer in the PDP. National Assembly members from Enugu State. They talk about, you have 2 senatorial seats not with the PDP. You have I think you just have 1 or 2 PDP seats at the House of Reps as we speak. The others are with the APC. And when you look at that, it presents an interesting setting. We've never had that scenario before politically. You understand what the scenario is now you now have, if you like, you call them the Abuja politicians, who are, unquote, stamping the authority within the political landscape of Enugu State. And I ask again, do you still think that 2027 will be a walkover on face value, the way you put it?
As a matter of fact, most of these politicians you see are only scampering for survival. If you have gone to Abuja, to the National Assembly, via the auspices of the Labour Party, and suddenly you abandon Labour Party, you've gone to APC, what you are looking for is mere survival. And today, the masses decided that last election. If they had wanted Governor Peter Mbah to lose that election, he would have lost his leg. Given the fact that there was a tsunami anchored by Peter Obi himself via the Labour Party. And people also using the opportunity of that voting to show their discontent about maladministration, misrule within the subnationals all over Nigeria. But today, the game has changed. If you are requesting or demanding for this, and government has provided more than you have requested for, and are still making promises to do more, you can see the intent of the government. It will turn them as the recycling tourism to say that the people will follow Peter Mbah. It is clear. So, and because they're following Peter Mbah, wherever he goes, they will go. Whoever he supports, they will support. You're going to see it. And I must also say clearly that we understand the sensibilities of people and their temperament, that you can no longer foist a popular candidates on people. Those who want to run for political offices using the umbrella of any party or using the channels of parties must also be qualified in terms of their quality relationship with the masses and character they have posited over the years. So the party, whoever party that the governor chooses to use, must be in the vanguard of protecting that interest of the masses. So, but whether you like it or not, one thing is very clear. Governor Peter Mbah has set the tone in Enugu. The masses are with him. Beyond the facets or beyond the corridors of Enugu State lies the fact that if you tune any channel today in Nigeria, what you hear is about the blistering performances of the state government in Enugu. So the narrative has changed, and it resonates far beyond the corridors of Enugu. And this is the reason why we are convinced that the people are massively behind him.
So you think that it's basically of no political consequence if almost all the National Assembly members belong to the opposition political parties?
I don't know what you call the opposition. I've told you that they're scampering for survival. Those who voted you to Abuja are still in the Labour Party, so to say, or they have moved again to join their governor, because I'm sure that most of the people in the Labour Party, like I alluded earlier, that even Honorable Chijioke Edeoga, as wise as he is, as popular as he is,
no, he was just the governorship
as visionary as
he was the governorship candidate.
Has also seen that if actually I intended to work for the state, to provide all this enabling environment for people to operate, this man has done that double fold. Let me join him. And that has melted the Labour Party, like I said. And some people that also joined the Labour Party and anchored their faith on the sweeping statements of Peter Obi, for instance, because of the level of frugality that he has preached and humility that he also brought to bear along like that campaign. Today, we have a governor that is humble, we have a governor that is also producing, we have a governor that is also very frugal in terms of management of the people's wealth. So what are they looking for? They have seen whatever they are looking for, and they are confessing. Go down the streets of Enugu, you see confessions from people,
Well, and someone just whispered that the people are Oliver Twist. They always want more. But I have to thank you so much. Chief Steve Ororo, thank you for your perspectives on the Eastern Eye tonight.
Thank you very much, Alex.
And that's the Eastern Eye for tonight. We'll be here tomorrow same time for another episode of the program. My name is Alex Obodo. Good night.